Good afternoon, everyone. I am Manoranjan H, Assistant Professor of Commerce, Government First Aid College, Bagepalli. Today, we are going to discuss about strategic HRM prescribed by Bangalore North University for 5th semester BBA. In the previous video, we discussed about the concept of strategy and strategic management, followed by strategic human resource management. We discussed the meaning, definition, and importance of all these concepts. Today, which is a first unit, Introduction to Strategic HRM, we are going to discuss about various objectives and essential elements of strategic human resource management, followed by the various differences between SHRM and traditional human resource management. Let's start. The main objectives of strategic human resource management are these. So before that, I just wanted to give you a brief concept of SHRM. We already discussed this. Strategic HRM is nothing but proper planning, or it's a proper planning or management of human resources in the particular organization. So what is the purpose of it? Why we have to do all these things is because of these parameters. The first one is to set the goals. For every organization, in order to set proper goals, proper human resource management is necessary. For that, specific strategies to be adopted. So the first and foremost thing is to set the goals. The second one, to utilize human resources. If we want to utilize the human resources in a proper manner, we have to plan properly in the organization. So every HR manager's prime responsibility is to manage the human resources. So he has to understand how the human resources being utilized or developed is through strategic SHRM. And the third one is for compensation plan. With proper strategic HRM, every HR manager can plan for a compensation. For example, what is the package or how much compensation being given to the employees, different cadres of employees. So what is the particular compensation to be given to them will be decided through proper SHRM. So this is also one of the important objectives. The next one, in order to set the evaluation standard, so it's a task, very hectic task of a HR manager to evaluate the standard of an employee. So it is nothing but a performance evaluation. If he has to understand how the standard being set, he has to undergo the proper strategies to be adopted for HRM in the organization. The next one is to identify the relationships between different departments in the organization. So another important task for an HR manager is to identify the relationship between different departments. We have finance department, marketing department, human resource department, all these departments we have. So, or in HR itself, we have different categories. Like for example, in payroll departments, or different departments like that. So he has to understand compensation department. We have payroll department like that. We have different departments. So line managers. So these people will have a prime responsibility. They have to understand how the relationship is being built on these different departments, because all these are interrelated. So in order to understand these, he has to set proper plans in the organization. The next one is to set strategies for future challenges. So another important parameter why we have to understand SHRM is to set strategies for future challenges. We don't know how the future will be. Like we have corona now, so we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So it is the prime task of every HR manager to give or set a proper strategy in an organization for future upcoming challenges. The next one is to formulate HR policies. So in every organization, we have goals and objectives and HR policies. In order to achieve or accomplish the HR policies, he has to formulate it in a better manner. So he has to understand how SHRM or strategies to be built upon in the human resource field. The next one is to review the existing HRM practices. So to understand what is the present HRM practices in an organization, SHRM plays a vital role. So he has to undergo various strategies to be adopted in order to implement review the existing HRM practices in an organization. The last one is to develop guidelines for HR managers. So if every HR manager, so if he understand or put across the proper strategies in an organization, he can develop a guidelines, how what are the workflow, how the task can be accomplished. He can set all these guidelines in order to accomplish it. So this is with SHRM. So these are important objectives of strategic human resource management. Then the next slide, we discuss about essential elements or components of strategic human resource management. So there are four important basic components. First one is human resource, second one is activities, next pattern and plan, and the last one is purposeful. The first one is human resource. See, this is a prime component of strategic human resource management. So it says to build proper strategies in an organization, human resources is very much essential. So the primary source of competitive advantage of the firm can be achieved through human resources, which is a very prime factor. The second one is activities. So every human resource manager, he has to undergo various activities or tasks in an organization. So in order to plan properly, the activities of the organization can be achieved. So HR programs and practices in the organization also falls part of the essential elements of the SHRM. The next one is pattern and plan. So it is a very important or prime factor or task for an HR manager to understand different pattern or plan or workflow in the organization. So this is also falls part of the important essential elements. So there is a fit between HR strategy and firm's business strategy between HR activities. So there is a two concepts, which is HR strategy and business strategy. He has to understand all these things, HR strategy and business strategy, to be accomplished in a same way. So this is also one of the important essential element of strategic human resource management. And the last one is purposeful. What is the essentiality or yes, essential or purposefulness of the SHRM also falls part of essential elements. So it includes people, activities, and plans which are directed towards the achievement of organizational goals. So the people or human resource and their task, activities, and what are the different strategies or plans they are going to accomplish. With taking the help of HR manager will also fall part of the important essential elements of strategic human resource management. So by this, we can say that there are four important elements in the SHRM or strategic human resource management, which are human resource, activities, pattern and plan, and purposefulness. In this particular slide, we discuss about strategic human resource management and traditional human resource management. We have two concepts here. One is present or strategic HRM, and another is old one like traditional HRM. So we'll start with the meaning first. So the basic HRM explains the governance of manpower in the organization. So we have certain set of employees in the organization, we have to govern them. This is a basic HRM. Whereas strategic HRM is not like that. It involves HR strategies, how we can use or how we can take the help or knowledge of the employees to accomplish our task, falls part of the SHRM. So this is the first difference between those two. Second one is, when considering the nature, we have reactive and proactive. The old HRM, human resource management, is reactive, like it's like normal workflow of the organization, whereas SHRM involves strategies. That's why it has become proactive in nature. Third one is, in human resource management, the responsibilities lies with staff specialists. The employees who are working in the particular department, the responsibility lies with them only. Whereas in SHRM, the responsibility falls part with the line manager. The immediate supervisor will be there and the line managers will be there. So they will be held responsible for all these things or tasks. So these are the differences. When considering the approach, we have two different parameters. One is when considering human resource management, which is fragmented approach. It is being diversified in nature and fragmented in nature, the task and strategies and all. Whereas in human SHRM, it integrated in nature. It is dependent on each factors. The tasks will be dependent on each one. So this is called SHRM. So the next difference, considering scope as a main point, we have HRM is concerned with only employee relations. So the present employees, whatever who are working in the organization, they are concerned with them, their relations. Whereas it is only internal. In short, we can say it is internal in nature. Whereas HRM is out, external and internal both. It includes both the things. It is concerned with both internal as well as external relations. They have to maintain stakeholders as well. So it is this is the main difference. Next, we have time horizon. So always the traditional HRM is short term in nature. SHRM is long term in nature. SHRM always is a future oriented or future oriented process. So it is long term in nature, whereas HRM is present, very present, short term in nature. Next, we have another factor which is basic factor. HRM deals with only capital and products. We have certain set of human resource and these are our product. This is based on HRM. Whereas SHRM we deal with people and knowledge. We have certain employees who are very no, they're asset to the company. They think like that. They are asset to the company and their knowledge will be utilized in a proper manner. So this is the basic difference. Next one we have HRM follows change, whereas SHRM initiates change. See, HRM is traditional in nature, which is like we have certain tasks which are whatever the managers will say, we will follow it, or whatever the change will be there, we'll accept it. Whereas in SHRM, they will only create. There's a concept of initiativeness in the SHRM. So this is the difference. Then considering accountability as the basis of comparison, HRM is cost center, whereas SHRM is investment center. As I already told you, HRM only deals with certain costs will be accomplished for certain tasks, so that will be considered. Whereas in SHRM, they consider whatever the cost or whatever the investment or whatever the money which has been invested, they will think it for future purpose. So the money will be considered as investment center. So next, the last one is control. Considering control as a basis of comparison, HRM is a stringent control over employees. It is like it's not democratic, it's like autocratic in nature. HRM is like there will be stringent control over all the employees in the organization, whereas SHRM, there will be the concept of leniency is there. So they will give preference to them. Their opinions will be taken, and they will be given preference. So their ideas will be given preference. So these are the important differences we can point out between SHRM and traditional HRM. We also have another set of points where there will be a lot of difference between SHRM and traditional. So taking the first one, which is operational, traditional HRM is like operational planning only. Like as I told you, the person who is working in certain departments is limited to that department as well. His ideas will not be considered. His planning will be limited to that extent. Whereas in SHRM, his idea will be considered as a for all the departments. Like the strategic plan will be there and aligning human resource functions with company strategy. His strategy, his ideas will also be considered for all the top level decisions. Next, considering authority, traditional HRM is medium status and authority personnel director. So it is limited to that level as well. Whereas here, high status authority and top level officers will be there. Next, considering this scope, already we discussed, we have decision making. As I told you, the decisions lies with operational decisions in traditional HRM, whereas in SHRM, the decisions are considered as strategic decisions, and top level managers will be taken the decisions. In integration, as traditional HRM, we have it is moderate to small integration with other functionals, and strategic SHRM is fully integrated with other, like it is As I told you, it is not limited to one department. It is pertaining to marketing, finance, legal, production, or any other departments. And the last one, we have coordination. Traditional HRM does not coordinate all human resource functions. We have planning, organizing, staffing. These are all different functions which have been considered for HRM, whereas it does not coordinate all those things. Whereas in SHRM, it coordinates with all the HR activities like training, recruitment, training, development, staffing, all those things. So with this, I conclude my presentation of strategic human resource management. Thank you.